precision matters. Our medical experts use advanced, data-driven treatments to optimize performance, recovery, and longevity. Live longer, stronger, with Game Day Men's Health.
The media got a hold of it and say, hey, this guy's giving Ferrari rides and shopping sprees to kids with cancer. My website got hit. I had 128 kids overnight on the waiting list. So Michael Jackson's doctor was fascinated by my case because literally I had 6 months to live at 7. There's a site where you have all the pictures of the kids and you can kind of pick, who you want. And I'm like, no, I feel like you're shopping. She wants to know what to call you. I said, she can call me Manny or Mr. Diotte, or what does she want to call me? She goes, she wants to call you Dad. I had painted a picture of me at a table. I told my mom, I'm going to be a millionaire one day and I'm going to adopt a bunch of kids. And it was a picture of me with a group of kids. And then we have a 23-year-old, a 21-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 14-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 9-year-old. I want our boys to be good men and treat their ladies like queens.
So what you do is absolutely amazing, man.
This has been my favorite.
You already know what time it is. Welcome to the Dad Side.
Hello, and welcome to the Dad Side. Dads, I have a special treat for you today. We are shooting live from the Ferrari Kid organization. If you do not know what that is, I want you to Google it immediately. It is a special foundation who makes kids with ailments and disabilities, just gives them the opportunity to be a special celebrity for the day. He puts them in a Ferrari and does more than that. I'm going to let him talk a little bit more about what the organization does. But aside from that, he's an author. He is a public speaker. He is a motivational speaker. He's just an overall good human being. And most of the people in Manny's life know him for everything that I just mentioned. But a lot of people don't know the portion of why we're here today, and that's to share his dad's side. So, Manuel, without further ado, welcome to the Dad Side.
Man, thank you for having me. Grateful to be here.
Thank you.
It's awesome. I love being a dad like you, so I'm excited about this today.
I'm glad, man. And so it's funny, and I'll tell everybody how you and I met. I was working for a life insurance company that specifically sold cancer insurance door to door. And the agency owner, his name is Jose Arona. One day he told all of his agents, we have a special guest speaker coming to speak to you guys today. And, we were all excited about it because Jose Arona gave Manny a better introduction than I did. And we were just all blown away and excited, just the opportunity to be in the same room as this man and hearing his story. And so that's how Manny and I connected. And we've been Facebook friends ever since. So I'm excited to have you here 10 years later, sharing your dad's side with the world.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Jose connected us a long time ago, and I'm a relationship guy, so I'm glad that we stayed in touch. And it's always at the right time, at the right place, and this is the moment for us to share our stories. So this is great. I appreciate
it. Yep. No, it's absolutely great. Thank you for just sharing your dad's side. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I have, as we talked earlier, I got 9 kids. Right? Wow. And when we come, my wife came with 7, I came with 2.
Okay.
And we talk about it all the time. Even my friends, are you sure you want this many kids in your life? I'm like, dude, you don't understand. I love being a dad. Mm-hmm. I think Dana White just came out and talked about this. What's his legacy? And he's not, it's not money. It's not fighting. It's not, I want it to be that I'm a great dad. And
I didn't even know that about him.
It just came out recently, about a week ago, he was interviewed and they asked him, what's his legacy going to be? He says, my legacy is to be a great father. I
love that.
And I do too, because it's not about money or stuff, accumulation or business. It's about leaving good human beings in the world. When one day when I'm gone, that I know my last name and the little people in my life, they're going to be big people one day, are good people.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's great.
So take me back to when you became a dad for the first time, 35 years ago, correct?
Yep.
What was that moment like when you found out the news that you were going to be a dad? First of all,
All right, so let me back up. I didn't tell you the full story.
Okay.
It wasn't exactly 35 years ago. She was 35, so it's 21 years ago
Okay.
that I adopted Sunshine and Keeper,
Okay.
Caroline and Nicole.
21
because
years.
because of my history of cancer,
Okay.
I could not have children. And sadly, it's one of the things, just want to keep it real, the arguments that I've had with God. Like, God gives people who don't deserve them, and people who want them don't get them. Like, what's up with this, And it's this conversation I always have. And I understand everything has its perfect plan, so I'm good with it all. So 21 years ago, I wanted to look into adoption, and the adoption agency I was interviewing called me, and they said, "Do you want one or two kids, boy or girl?" I'm like, "It really doesn't matter, young or old." I'm like, "Oh, it doesn't matter to me." And she goes, "Well, perfect, because I got two sisters. They're 14 and 4. They're 10 years apart, and we're going to put them on the state site." And that really bothered me, actually, when they said that. Because I'm like, "What do you mean the state site?" Like, there's a site where you have all the pictures of the kids, and you
Wow.
can kind of pick, who you want. And I'm like, no, I feel like you're shopping for a
Right.
child.
Looking for the
feels-
perfect one.
It's like, I don't want to go to a site. Just tell me what you got.
Sure.
And so they told me about these two girls that were about to be put on the site. And I'm like, yeah, let's meet with them. And so in the state of Texas, you meet with them like at a Chuck E. Cheese or somewhere one time, wherever they like. And that's where they wanted to meet, actually. Then you spend a day with them. About a week later, then they spend the night, and then so you have a 1 moment experience, which you probably already know. You have a day experience, you have a night experience, and then you decide, is this a child that you want to work with? Because sometimes, when they're in state care, they've been hurt or abused, and there's stuff that comes with that.
Sure.
So you want to be prepared for what that may look like, even though you don't have the overall picture, how it affects them in the long term.
Of course.
In the short term. So we went there, and
And you were married at the time?
Yeah, I was married. I was married for 20 years. At the time, we were married about 10.
Okay.
And when I walked in, the little one, Keeper, the moment I saw her, I knew she was a keeper. That's why I nicknamed her Keeper.
Oh, I love it.
And then I saw the oldest, Nicole, and I called her. I'm like, "You're like sunshine to me right now."
Wow.
And it was on the way home that night, their caseworker called me, and she said, Nicole, who I call Sunshine, she goes, she wants to know what to call you. I said, "Oh, she can call me Manny or Mr. Diotte, or what does she want to call me?" She goes, "She wants to call you Dad." I said, "I don't want to see another kid. You send me the paperwork, I'll sign it tonight."
Wow.
And that's exactly what happened. I signed
And
the
that was just
paperwork.
one time.
One time. It happened around, I'm going to tell you how crazy that got.
Man.
That happened around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So we had the moment we met them. Then they're
Right.
supposed to spend a day. They came for the day, and then they said, "Can we stay the night?" And I'm like, "Well, it's not up to
It's
me.
not
Let
up-
me call the state." So I called their caseworker and like, "Man, if they're comfortable staying the night, you can stay the night." So this was a Friday we met them. Friday night they stayed the night. They ended up saying, "Can we stay till Monday to school?" And I'm like, "Yes." And then the state calls me and says, "Well, they don't have school Monday. It's Thanksgiving week. Would you consider keeping them for the week?" And the girls were like, "Yes, yes." I mean, I didn't even answer the question. They answered the question.
Answered it.
And other than one day where they had to report back to their foster house to get their stuff,
Right.
they've never been apart from me.
Wow.
So yeah, and then Rachel, she was also married 20 years and had 7. And with this
Your
man,
wife now?
Yes, my wife now. And she had 7 with this man. So together, I tease her, because even though I can't have kids, I always tease her. I'm like, "Baby, if we have one more, we have 2 basketball teams, 5 and 5.
Hey, crazier things have happened.
And she goes, "No more. Our little one's 9, will be 10 in a couple of months."
Okay.
She goes, "That's it. We now have everyone's in double digits. That's enough." So I'm
Love
like,
it.
"Yes, I get it."
And then when you now you're a dad, you've raised 2 girls. I mean,
yes.
they're your daughters. I mean, you can't tell
100%.
nobody
Yeah,
that you're
100%.
dad.
Yeah.
Now, going into this new relationship, your children are at what age? They're older now at this point, right?
Yeah, they're 35. Nicole just turned 35 on the 15th of July,
Okay.
and Keeper turns 25 on the 30th of July.
Okay.
And then we have a 23-year-old, a 21-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 14-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 9-year-old. Yeah.
And were you prepared mentally to get into a relationship with someone who had 7 children at the time?
Well, she had 4 living with her and 3 already grown.
Okay.
So it ended up, even though 7 sounds like a lot, right? It was really 4 at home.
Okay.
And I didn't really think about it. I wasn't, when I started to go out to date, I wasn't thinking, oh, well, most of my immediate thought used to be, because I'm older, their kids are going to probably be like my kids grown. It's not going to matter. I ended up falling in love with someone with 4 kids at home. And to me, in my thought process, the kids weren't even, it wasn't like a disqualifier or qualifier. It was like, they're part of her. And I love my relationship with each of them. They're amazing kids. They welcome me so much that it made it easy for me. So it was kind of like a no-brainer. I fell in love with them as much as I fell in love with her.
I love this podcast because it gives different dynamics of situations that people and men are facing every day, especially being a single man in the dating world. Me personally, I was by myself for 3.5 years before I met my woman, because I needed that time to just be in my own space and my own thoughts. And then our last guest, Vern, he had this mindset that he didn't want children. His whole life, grew up, went to the military and, got out of the military and started dating. And with this premonition that I'm not going to be with anybody that has kids, met a woman, fell in love. The daughter was 4 years old at the time. So different scenarios when you went into that mindset of dating, and both had the same outcome.
Yeah, I was just looking for a woman of God. I wanted a woman who was faithful. I wanted a woman who would be supportive of my goals and understands that I have a business that takes time to grow a business. I'm very present as a father and as a husband, but sometimes I do work late nights. And like when I have my gala and host 600 guests, I'm almost invisible for 60 days leading to that event. So, and then we can enjoy the other 10 months almost, right? So, but Rachel and the kids made it very easy for me. And the truth is, when I was very young and told I was not going to have children, I had painted a picture of me at a table. I told my mom, I'm going to be a millionaire one day and I'm going to adopt a bunch of kids. And it was a picture of me with a group of kids around the table. Were you? I was probably 14, 15 when they told me I couldn't have kids.
Oh, no, and you drew this at 14?
Yeah, and I said, I'm going to have kids one day. And because I'm still thinking that I didn't realize how much damage the chemotherapy and the radiation did to my body. I was just thinking anything's possible, right?
Sure.
I had a really positive attitude at 14. So, ironically, the good Lord would have it that I do have a bunch of kids around the table.
Of course.
And in fact, we were just talking before this that I just booked a cruise to the Bahamas for 9 of us.
Wow.
For next June. So I got exactly what I prayed for when I was little. It didn't come in the format that I thought it was going to be my seed.
Sure.
But it came in the format, they are my children. Because I love them all the same. Like I would do anything for them. They're amazing.
Love is love.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's how you are able to, show it to others, and you will receive it the same way.
Yeah, correct. And, and to also put things in perspective, when I started to go out again, and which was very new territory for me, I did have friends like, you don't want a woman with children. You don't want, are you sure? How many kids? You get everyone has an opinion.
Of course.
Everyone wants to chime in, but they've never experienced it. So it's kind of like, I don't take financial advice from broke people, right? I don't take kid advice from people who aren't parents.
Yep.
You've got to be a parent to be able to really speak knowledgeably on that subject. I can tell you about what a woman goes through being pregnant because I've read the book.
Sure.
But I can't ever tell you what that experience like because I'm not a woman.
And you don't know what it feels like.
Right. So when people are chiming in and they don't have kids and they're just, lifetime bachelors and whatever, I'm like, I just don't even listen to that stuff.
Yeah.
And then, I fell in love with Rachel, and eventually she introduced me to the kids, and they fell in love with me. And and now we're just a big happy family, you know. So
And how many years now?
well, we've been together 5 years now, and you know, like anything, we put in the work.
Of course.
You know, there's times when we have teenagers, and including my teenagers,
Sure.
where we're not on the same page, but you love each other enough to work through it. You humble yourself enough to say, hey, I made a mistake. Like if I pound my chest too loud in a situation that didn't warrant it, I'm a man enough to go in the room and say, you know what, I was a little too much.
Right.
I'm sorry I raised my voice, or I'm sorry that I grounded you for, you know, the rest of your life when it only warranted 2 days, you know,
Right.
or something like that. So, you know, it's a little give and take, but at the end of the day, we love each other and we work through it that way.
How did your daughters feel when you brought up the conversation that you were dating a woman with not one but 7 children?
Yeah, so my daughters, the good thing is they were more concerned about how I felt than how they felt.
Okay.
So they were like, "Oh, don't worry about us, Dad. How do you feel? How are you happy?" Because they saw me in a relationship when I was not happy.
Of course.
So their concern was, Dad, are you happy? Because if you're happy, we're going to be happy. And eventually, when the kids all kind of got together and met, it was great. And now I have a grandson. So when she's in town, or, you know, the kids that live at home with us, they love to see, you know, my grandson. And they all play and they get along. They don't see each other very much because everybody, half the house is grown
Sure.
and doing their own thing, and the other half is still getting out of school. But when they do see each other, it's always fun. Yeah,
It sounds like it. I mean, I want to come to one of these little get-togethers, man. It sounds amazing.
yeah, it is fun, and the thing is, you know, part of it is Rachel and I taught our children to be good people. So it didn't surprise me that my kids would be so accepting of my relationship with Rachel and her kids, and it wasn't surprising that Rachel's kids were so accepting
Right.
of my daughters, because they also grew up with Rachel, which is, you know, you spell Rachel Love. That woman's pure love.
Love it. No,
Yeah.
I think that's amazing because, like, how else are you going to blend, you know, that many people if there's not love?
Right. Yeah, I don't know how.
You can't force it. You cannot force something like that.
No, you can, and so I got very blessed. The transition was smooth for me.
Now, let me ask you this, Manny. Going back to when you decided to adopt a child, let me go back a step further, because, you know, when you get into a relationship, especially when you're going to marry someone, right? And at what point did your spouse know that you would not be able to have children? Is this something that you talked about early on when you're dating? I'm just curious of, like, how do you ingest that into a how do you interject that to a conversation?
Yeah, it's almost like politics and religion and some things that you have to probably be on the same page about, right? Like if someone's atheist and you're a Christian, that relationship's probably going to have a lot of problems, you know. If you like peanut butter and jelly and I don't, that's probably not the major hiccup. So
Sure.
you want children, you don't want children. That's one of the biggies. So I just think in the beginning, during that courtship, that dating process, when I was married 20 years, I brought that up early.
You did right away.
I did, because I couldn't have kids. And here's a woman I met at that time, I was in my 30s, that if she wanted children, I was not going to be the right man for her, right? So when we were dating, I just said, hey, listen, I don't know if it was date 3, 4, it was pretty early on when we talked about, I can't have children, so if that's something you want in the future, I'm not the guy for it. It'd be hurtful to keep going down that road and then pull the rug down the road
Sure.
on you. I could adopt, and I'm happy to do that. At that point, she didn't actually want children. She was in a career woman, and she wanted to raise her career. But man, I kept mentioning all the time that I wanted kids, that I imagined lots of kids in my household one day.
And you mentioned this like early on in the relationship or after you're already married?
No, I mentioned it early on in relationship, and then we just kind of got busy growing a business, and she's growing a career. But it kept, you know, my friends have babies, or they have birthdays, or they have all these announcements on social media, and then I started thinking, man, maybe this is time to adopt. And
Sure.
so then I kept bringing up the conversation that I brought up previously. Only now, instead of talking about it, I'm ready to pull the trigger and do something about it.
Sure. And
And
at this point, have you already done research?
I didn't do research. I did some research in terms of what it's going to look like
Right.
if you do a state adoption where the books are open, if you go through an agency and the books are closed. So I did a little bit of homework about it. Should we adopt in America? Should we adopt overseas? Because there's a lot of different laws. There's a lot of money in the adoption business.
It's sad, but
It's super sad, and so I wanted to know what that could look like. And then once I figured that out, then I interjected the conversation. Well, if we did, this is what it's going to look like. What do you think of this? International, what do you think of local? What do you think of open? What do you think of closed?
Yeah.
And you'd have those conversations.
And then how were those conversations received?
They were well. I think it got to a point where she saw I was super happy bringing up the topic all the time, that it probably was not going to go away, and
she loved you.
And yes, so she did, and so we ended up adopting our girls. Sadly, 10 years later, our marriage didn't work, but but we became good co-parents. And I think the maturity of our relationship, even though it didn't end well, we were always putting the children first.
That's important.
It is important, because I see too many moms and too many dads use the children as toys and tools, and you didn't pay support, so you can't see them, or I don't feel like you coming over and you can't pick them up. And I see all these things and I hear all these conversations, and I'm like, man, I experienced none of that.
Right.
Because we both said the children are going to come first. They've already been through so much trauma. We're not going to add to that.
Right.
So, I didn't have to deal with some of the issues I know a lot of dads and moms deal with today.
Me personally, I mean, I and it's so crazy that you said that sometimes the parents use the children as weapons, and by stating, oh, well, you can't see them if I don't get this. If you don't give me money, you're not going to. But on the flip side, that does a lot of damage, right? But I think what does more damage is a situation that where my children were that the fact that you had two parents fighting for the sole attention of the children, but not really understanding the damage that you're doing by not being co-parents.
Right.
Because it's like, okay, I want the child. No, she wants the child. I'm the better parent. No, I'm the better parent. And what damage that we were doing, we didn't even see 2 years later.
Right. So we didn't want to do that.
Right.
We had already broken up so when you adopt a child, they call it, hey, you found your forever family. And our forever family was broken 10 years. So they've experienced the drama and trauma of not having their biological parents because, they were drug addicts and were not good parents, right? They have the trauma and drama of being in state care. They finally get a forever home, and then that gets broken up. So do I continue to add trauma and drama by making it about me in the divorce and saying I want them over you want them and going and having these fights? The answer is absolutely not. The answer is whatever's in the best interest of the children, we will do.
Right.
So I took a very passive role in that, meaning she's the mother and the nurture. So if she wanted them on Christmas morning and I got Christmas night or afternoon, I was okay with it. I'm not going to fight for that.
Right.
If she wanted to have them Thanksgiving and I get them that night for dessert, I get them that. It was never going to be about me. And as fate would have it, we were very equal on doing things on their birthdays or common days. When they got sick, if they needed insurance cards and need to be picked up.
They always saw mom and dad working together, even though you weren't together.
Yeah, because what had happened is we got to a point where I was screaming and she was screaming at the end of the divorce. And I finally put a stop to that. And I looked at the girls and said, I want to apologize. Because if a man spoke to you the way I just spoke to your mother, I'd probably knock him out. And I shouldn't speak to mom that way. And this is not what love looks like.
And how old were they when you're having this conversation?
They were 10 and 20.
And you think at a 10-year-old wouldn't be able to understand something like that. But what they've been through already, they've grown up faster than
than most.
Right.
Like my 14-year-old Nicole Sunshine, she was already incredibly street smart.
Oh yes,
and book smarts caught up to her later, but she already seen the good, the bad, and the ugly at 14, and it's almost a shame.
Right.
Same thing with the little one. She's already seen so much that from the abuse they gone through that they grew up way too fast. So I didn't want to compound that, and
Sure.
I just said this is not what love looks like. So we're going to separate and eventually divorce, and so they would see what love looked like, which is taking care of them and not this argument
Sure.
back and forth all the time.
And how was it received by them?
It was great. They spent time with each of us equally. They lived with her. That's the way I wanted it,
Cool.
because we had bought that house and put a pool in and all these things for the girls to have the best life possible. And I didn't want to keep changing their world by having them move out of the house and do all these things. So it was. I think at the end, now that they're older and they look back, they can definitely say my parents navigated that really well.
Good. I mean, that's
And-
really good to
and
hear.
thought of us first.
No, it's really important to hear, especially nowadays, because I mean, kids, they see everything, they know everything, they see more than what we even realize.
Yeah.
They're always paying attention.
Yeah.
And for them to see that, I think it's going to mold them to be the parents that they need to be.
Yeah, and we need to model that, but it takes humility. I had to humble myself. My ex had to humble herself, and we had to think of the long-term picture and the long-term damage if we didn't do this.
Sure.
So because you're right, as much as they're like, my oldest is married and I want that to go forever. If something were to happen, God forbid, that they would model what they saw.
Sure.
Which is think of their child and be amicable and humble and respect each other.
And they know, I mean, they do. They realize it more often than we even know that, because when my daughter, during the times of when we first separated, my daughter just had this rebellious just attitude about things, and I didn't even really pay attention to it at the time because I want my daughter with me. She was being rebellious towards her mother. At the time, I was like, "Yeah, let's be rebellious towards your mother." I'm on that team, And then it wasn't doing anything good.
No.
And so then what happened eventually is when we started growing, started healing, she would treat her mom like crap, and it was residual. And I just eventually had to tell my daughter, "Look, you can't talk to your mom like that.
Right.
I'm not going to allow it.
Right.
And she doesn't deserve that. She's
Right.
trying to love you. She's
Right.
not being mean to you. She's not hurting you. In fact,
Right.
all she wants you to do is love her."
Right.
And it took that over and over again for her to finally realize it. And now we just have the most beautiful relationship.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I wouldn't allow my kids to talk bad about their mother, because it's easy for them to do that, and then you get in on it, and then suddenly you're pinning good cop, bad cop,
Yep.
making her the bad person. I wanted them to have a great relationship with their mother, and I wanted them to have a great relationship with me, their father. So I wouldn't allow that. As much as I was tempted, because we shielded them from a lot of the truth of the hurt and things like that to protect them. I didn't use them as weapons or say, well, guess what your mom did, and build some hate case against her. I didn't want that. I didn't think it would be good co-parenting. I wouldn't be a good man if I just talked badly and gossiped about their mother. I didn't want to set that example. And I don't think she did either. I mean, I didn't hear that she did anyway. So I think we were on the same page of, and I'm glad that at least you learn the lesson sooner than later sometimes.
Oh, yes,
right?
absolutely.
And every situation is different. So I don't judge my friends that have done, and I have friends that still do it, and I'm like, oh God, and then they get the what is it, the fruit of that, and it's not pretty.
It's not.
So yeah, it's not.
It's just it's bad all around.
Yeah.
Now, let me take me back to when you were talking about earlier when you were 14. and you had this vision of being a child. And I hear nothing but great things about you being a parent, and you have these just positive just premonitions of just like, I'm gonna do things this way. I'm not gonna allow things to happen this way. How did you model being a father? Like, how was your dad to you?
Not great.
No?
So what happened is, I was also adopted when I was 5 years old. I think what happens is you see behavior and you could model it or you cannot. For example, I have acquaintances that are drunks, and their excuse is, well, my dad was a drunk, no wonder I'm a drunk.
Okay.
Right? Or the story can say, my dad was a drunk, so my God, I don't want to be that. Right? So eventually you can blame your parents for all your crap, but you also have to look in the mirror and say, you're a grown person. You've got to own some of this stuff, right?
I'm making these decisions.
Right. So I was really blessed that I was surrounded with, during my cancer years, with really good friends who had really great parents. And I would see how their parents would love each other. Like, one thing I do, I love on Rachel all the time in front of the kids. Like, damn, you're sexy, girl. Ooh, God, you're so, and I'm like, give me a kiss right now. And I tell her, and the kids see how much I love their mother.
I think that's beautiful.
And I would see these in my friendships. My friends' parents would be this way. My parents weren't this way, but my friends' parents were this way. And so as I started to become a parent and become an adult and be a husband and all these things, I looked for what I saw that I loved. And I'm like, I would see. I still speak, a speaker for a long time. And I would hear a speaker go, yeah, my daughter, I've got a $10,000 speaking engagement, next week, but I didn't accept it because it's my daughter's 16th birthday. She gets 16 one time. And I'm like, wow, he gave up 10 grand for a 45-minute speech to be with his daughter and see. I mean, I want to be that dad.
Yeah.
I want to be that dad.
You saw stuff like this.
Yeah, so I wanted to model it. So it's not that I'm brilliant. It's that I'd learned it from seeing other people, and I wanted that in my life. So my little one, Liberty, who you met earlier, she's like, this is my first year in double digits. So
love it.
10 is going to be like 13. It's going to be a special number. It's 10 double digits. Then there's that 13 and that sweet 16, and there's those moments you don't want to miss. And I saw that because other parents made big deals out of that for their kids, and I was friends with their kids. So I'm like, man, I want to be that dad. I had a roof put on my house, and Sunshine was turning 18, and my little keeper was turning 8. And I was talking to the roofer, and he said, so how are your kids? I'm like, oh, I'm going to have an 18-year-old here in a couple months, and then the 8-year-old, it goes 18. Oh, man, I bet you can't wait till she leaves the house. And I'm like, oh, no, sir. I wish she can live with me forever. That blew him away that would say that, because he was, in his world, in his life, 18, you're out the door.
Done.
And I'm like, no, man, they're not grown yet. They still have stuff to learn.
Of course.
I want to shelter them as much as I can,
right.
But I learned that from someone else, So, it's just, I learned some things that I liked that I saw, and learned things that I didn't like that I saw. I saw parents discipline their kids in public and humiliate them. I'm like, oh, my God, I'll never do that.
You're seeing all these models of
right.
what you should and what you shouldn't do.
Yeah, and then I've seen parents take their kids in the parking lot and then go in the car and have a talking, or wait till they get home and have a talking, but not do that in the middle of a mall and embarrass them and humiliate them and spank them and correct them. So I'm like, man, I didn't like that. I like that. This is the kind of dad I want to be.
Yeah.
And then you think, then you just learn things on your own.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah,
things
exactly.
Pick up your own flavor, your own style, and things like that. My own silliness, and things like that. So.
I've seen your pictures, man. You're just like me. I'm goofy as heck when I'm around my kids. My children tell me all the time, I love my goofy dad. They're like, I get the compliments or comments, however you want to perceive them. I'm silly. I'm goofy. I'm like, I love them.
Me too.
I absolutely love being a goofball to these little kids.
Yeah, I was playing. I think I posted the video, and I rarely post the videos. Sometimes, paper, rock, and scissors for 30,
I saw
for
it for
30
extra
minutes
time.
of bedtime.
Yeah.
You get 30 extra minutes, and I won. And she goes, "No, that's the practice one. Now we're gonna do the real one." It's just those, and I knew I was gonna give her 30 minutes.
course.
Of course, I'm gonna do another round,
Right.
so she could eventually win. And she's so predictable because she always goes paper first, scissors second. So I'm able to do the opposite, so she
let her
can
win.
win it. You know,
love it.
and you have those silly moments, and I love it. So because here's what I do know of being a dad is that kids do go where there's action in their life and in their world, but they
Right.
stay where there's love. And you spell love TIME with a kid, time. So I spend as much time as I can with each of them because they all have different personalities. They have different love languages. They have different needs. Like one is quality time with one, where the other one is affirmations, where the other one's acts of service, what you do for them. So, and you only know these things because you invest time in these relationships with the kids. And the time you invest pays off tenfold.
Wow, I love that. I've never heard it put so beautifully. LOVE spells time, or how did you say
Yeah,
it?
you spell time or love, LOVETIME.
I love that.
It's time. And you know, and it's like again, like just what I said, you know, you read the love languages. What's the 5 love languages for your spouse? Well, guess what? Your children have a love language.
They do.
You know, Nehemiah loves to spend time with me and Rachel to watch a movie, and then he's off playing his video
Right.
games. But man, you give him 2 hours of quality time, it's like you spent a week with him in Spain or
Right.
somewhere. Where Liberty, man, she likes me to hold her, hug her, cuddle up next to her, all the love I give her mama. She likes to feel loved, and her love language is touch. So you got to hug her extra, give her an extra kiss when you go to bed, and tell her something beautiful that let it be the last thought of the night in her head. You know, so you learn this because you spend time with them.
And you said it. You want to do that. Like,
Oh,
that's a
yes.
choice.
Right.
You don't have to spend. This wasn't a requirement. This wasn't a part of the requisition that, okay, I'm with you, that I'm going to figure out each one of your kids. I'm going to figure out what they like. I'm going to do what they like. Nobody told you to do that. I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah. So I just one day we were talking with Rachel. Rachel taught me this, and we're talking about the 5 love languages, and she goes, "I understand. I mean, I've got 7 love languages," and I'm like, wow, the way she framed that. And together we have 9, and then each her and I, that's 11 love languages.
Wow.
So how do we show up for each other is with their love language. So we know what each of them needs when they need attention. We know what each of them wants because we know what's important to them. And I think that's what makes great fathers, great mothers, but especially fathers, is getting to know your kids' love language and doing these things that they like. Like, I'm not into video games, but my son loves them.
Sure.
So I make sure I ask lots of questions. And sometimes I act stupid, right? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that is? And he likes to
They
explain.
light up.
Yes. And I want them to light up because I want them to think, oh man, even if it's 10 minutes that I spent with Nehemiah asking questions about games, it will seem like I was there all day.
Yep.
It's like a doctor when I was in a hospital for 3.5 years. A doctor can come into the room and touch you and just say, how's your day going, son? And a doctor can stand at the door and say, hey, how's your day going? If you get a survey later and you're asked about both doctors, and this is real stuff, this is real surveys happen, the doctor that was by your side for 10 seconds touching you saying, how's your day? You will say, oh, that doctor was great. He asked me how I was doing. He spent so much time with me. And the doctor that was at the door 10 minutes just said, hey, how's your day? And then looking at charts, you'll say, oh, he was in and out, even though he was there 10 minutes.
Wow.
So I've learned that so early that when your love language is time, and a couple of our kids, it's time, you can spend 10 minutes. It'll feel like all day.
Wow, I like that. And it's so funny you said it because I have only 2 children, but I already know what their love languages are just by having this conversation with you.
Yeah.
It's so cool. My son, I was telling you, he turned 8 yesterday. Ryder, I didn't forget. I'm giving you a shout out. I told you I would give you a shout out, Ryder. Happy day after your birthday.
Happy birthday, Ryder.
He turned 8 yesterday, and we went to this place called Pump It Up. It's an inflatable bounce house place. My daughter had been going there. She's 14 now. She had been going there to other kids' parties, but the last time she had went to one was she was fourth grade. She's going to be in high school now.
Wow.
She told me yesterday, Dad, thank you for bringing Ryder to this place. It makes me feel like a kid again. I'm like, you are a kid, but for her to thank me, it meant everything.
Yeah, for sure. It's special. Those moments are special.
Yeah, they truly are, and I cherish them. And same thing as you. Like, I hold on to my children's innocence as long as I can, because at 14 years old, where she's at is night and day difference than when I was 14 years old.
We have a 14-year-old going on. Jennifer Gardner did the movie 13 going on 30,
yes.
right? And that's so true.
My wife wants to show that to my daughter. I haven't seen it in a long time.
It's great. Jennifer Gardner is great. So it's so funny because we have a 19-year-old where our 14-year-old wants to be 19. Our 19-year-old wants to be 30,
Of
right?
course.
And our 10-year-old, almost 10-year-old, wants to be the 14-year-old, you know? So it's kind of like, I'm like, don't grow up so fast.
Right.
And be 9, enjoy it.
Exactly.
And we know it's like, as parents, we may have 9 more Christmases, God willing.
No.
7 more Christmases, 8 more Christmases, and then they're grown and doing their own thing. So we do cherish those moments. That's why turning double digits is an important day. That's why you want to be present on that 13th and 16th, sweet 16, or whatever those are. For
whatever they are.
They let you know.
They do.
They let you know.
They remember everything. I've never missed an award ceremony. I've never missed as little as they are. They're big moments to those children.
Yeah, it takes me longer to park than for her to go on stage and receive the certificate, but I haven't missed one.
Yeah.
It's first grade, second grade, third grade, I haven't missed one.
Same.
I haven't missed a recital. I mean, I say I haven't missed one. Let me back up. I've been to 85% of them. So one of the things I did tell my kids, all of them early, is where do you want to go vacation? Do you guys want to go to Disney?
Okay.
Or do you want to stay in town and just walk the river walk? Like, well, we want to go to Disney. Then I'm like going to make 8 out of the 10 recitals.
Oh, okay.
I'll make 8 out of the 10 school, choir performances. Now I can be at all 10, but we're going to vacation in town.
Right.
Or I could be 80% of them and we'll vacation where we want to go.
Sure.
So we did have these family but for the most part, I purposely, intentionally schedule my schedule not to miss a one.
Sure.
So,
and like you said, I mean, they had one parent there, but you let them know.
Right.
Like, it's the communication. It means everything. It's them not looking up in the stands and seeing, or them looking up the stands and not seeing where mom and dad is. That moment crushes them.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And we've seen videos all over social media where a little kid's just going left and right, looking for the parent. And then when they see the parent, they just light up like a tree.
Yeah,
That's the importance of being present.
Yep.
And I always tell my boys, we have 6 girls, 3 boys. I tell the boys, if you're gonna be a man, be a good man. You're gonna be a dad, be a good dad. And that takes time to figure out what that looks like.
It does.
And it's not easy for men, and I'm not saying it's easy. It's being intentional.
Oh, you have to be intentional with your time, especially with your time and your word. Those mean everything.
Yeah, like Liberty. One of the things that she says all the time is she goes, she'll tell Rachel, she goes, I'm going, and Manny's taking me to, Target or Miss A or wherever, this Toys R Us, wherever, this weekend. And she goes, he is. She goes, yeah, he's a man of his word. He always does it. So she knows me as a man of my word.
Right.
So that, that's a compliment to the dads that I learned that from.
Sure.
And the good men that I learned that from. That if you're going to be a good man, be a man of your word.
Right.
So I do that. If I make a promise, I do everything to make sure that, and I don't promise if I can't deliver.
Sure.
So if I can deliver it, I'm sure I'll promise it. And I want to be known that they can count on me, because the world does get tough, and I want home to be the safest place they land.
Right.
To share their glories, their victories, as well as their pain. And so we create an environment of love and time so those things can happen.
I love that. And that's why I created this podcast, to give that time to dads, the space, the open platform for men to share these triumphs, share these struggles, and kind of just lift each other up, and have a place where dads can just be themselves and not have to worry about being judged, and be able to share their dad's side and have other dads resonate and be like, wow, I can relate to that.
Yeah. And I will, and let me share one thing. I do know I'm blessed and I'm blessed that my ex is amicable and we have a great relationship when it comes to parenting our even grown children, because we have a grandchild now. He has a birthday party. Can we show up and it be about him and
Right.
not, so we are really good at that. And I know that's not every dad is in that situation.
Sure.
So one of the things I've told dads that are not in that situation, when I speak at prisons and do ministries where men have a difficult time accessing their children, and I tell them to journal it. So today I wanted to see you, but for some reason I couldn't.
Okay.
I don't say because of their mother or nothing. I say,
Oh.
but for some reason I couldn't. But
Okay.
I just want you to know I was still thinking about you today on your birthday. I was thinking about you today on your first day of school. And then eventually one day these letters you can turn over.
I
So
love
then
that.
that child knows that my dad was absent, but man, he was thinking of me. And that kind of comforts the blow. So they don't grow up thinking that they were forgotten.
Wow. I wish I would have thought about that when I was in a situation where I couldn't see my kids for 54 days, and I'm not going to talk about it.
Right.
It's pointless. However, I was in such a dark place during that time. It may
Yeah.
not seem like a lot because I've had friends who haven't seen their kids in years.
Yeah.
54 days it seemed like a lot, but it seemed like a lot to me at that
Right.
time. And I would cry almost every night.
Yeah.
And Christmas, I couldn't see my kids. It was for the first time ever.
Right.
And if I would have just had that piece of advice, so dads, use that. Pick up a
Yeah.
notebook, journal every thought that you have about your child.
Right.
Write it down. They're not going to go away. You're going to be thinking about your daughter. I did 3:00 in the morning.
Right.
Write it down.
Yeah.
Share it with them later. You'll be glad you did, and
Yep.
your child will be glad that you did also.
Yeah, because they're going to make all these assumptions.
Of course.
And you can put those to bed by saying, actually, I did think of you.
Yeah.
And and what have you. And even if you're not a writer, just write down, even if it's 2 sentences.
Exactly. I
Today
love my
I was
daughter.
thinking about you. You turned 13. I wish I could have been there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly.
And they'll see that. And then in Christmas time, I write each of my kids a love letter of the cool things we did that year. Like
love
this
that.
year you turned 10 and you couldn't wait, and we went to the trampoline park and we were at Kalahari, and you said the funniest thing to me, and this is what you had said that made me laugh so hard. And so every year I give them a Christmas letter. So they'll have those letters to one day when God says, Manny, it's time for you to go home. They'll have those letters of in pictures. Well, kids nowadays, they don't hate being in pictures.
Sure.
Like you're going to kill them. Like if I
Right.
were to take a picture. But they'll have those letters that they'll remember and recall the memory that you had with them. And so every year that my Christmas letter changes based on
What you did that year.
Yeah, what we did that year, how old they turned, the silly thing that I learned from them. Oh, today you taught me to love deeper because of this situation. And I remind them that they can be a teacher as well as a student.
Absolutely. I mean, because one day they are going to be.
Yes.
You can never. It's one thing that we do at our house. We let the kids know that they have a voice. They can speak openly about whatever it is that they have on their minds without any judgments. We're not going to punish you for speaking and saying how you feel. And
Right.
we have that at home. So I want them to be, and everything we do as parents is to teach them to be one day examples for their own children.
Right. It's the same thing in my house. I tell the kids they could have a voice as long as it's respectful.
Sure.
Right. Like if and sometimes, like as parents, we always think we know what's best for them.
Sure.
Like for example, I punished our kid one time because he was disrespectful, right? And I think the punishment was too long. So he says, I understand I was disrespectful, but I think that the punishment was too long. Would you consider a shorter? I'm happy to take my consequence, but you're punishing me for a month, and what I did didn't warrant that. And so I'm like, wow, I'm happy to, and I made the adjustment.
Sure.
Because at the end they were right.
Of course.
And I'm not pounding my chest. I'm the adult that I always have it right, because I
Right.
don't. I make my mistakes too. So, but I always let them have a voice as long as they're respectful. If they get unrespectful, conversation's over. But as long as they're respectful, I'm happy to hear your side of the story, because sometimes we do as parents jump to conclusions.
Yes.
You know, and we know our little people in the house. So if something's missing, we're like, I know who took it, you know, because they always take it and never put it back. It's
Right.
easy to make that assumption.
Sure.
Then you get mad at them and you find out it was the other one, and like, oh shit.
Or you did it.
I'm like, or I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot it. And I've done that a couple times
Me
where
too.
I've accused the wrong person
Yep.
of doing something, only to like, oh my God, I took that and I took the plug from the phone and I put it downstairs in my office and I forgot it, and I thought they took it out of my room for their bedroom. It was my fault. So,
Well, I got the remote in my shorts as we speak.
yeah,
I'm asking everybody to stand up.
Yeah, like who has it? Who took it? You know, and so that's part of being a good dad is just is being able to forgive yourself and say I'm sorry to your
Sure.
children, and that you don't have it all together, but you're doing the best that you can.
And most people don't realize that everything that we do comes down to a choice, right? That choice that you made with your son, you could have pounded your chest and said, no. I said, you're going to be grounded this long. When your punishment is over, then we could talk about the adjustments, and maybe next time you'll not make these same mistakes. And just imagine what that would have done to him. But you didn't. You chose to allow him to communicate with you, explain how he felt about the process and the fairness of it, and you were able to adjust.
Yeah, and I think do that because we create a place of love. And we want them to be heard, because if not, then they build resentment.
Sure.
Then they don't talk to you, and then you end up being one of these parents like, my kids don't talk to me. Well, probably because you think you're always right and you yell at them and you put yourself first and you never humble yourself to hear their opinion. So now they don't feel like they want to share it. So
Yep.
we've created a space that allows them to talk about anything they want to. No topics off limits. I'd rather them hear the truth from a parent than a friend that doesn't know the truth.
Right.
You know, we've all heard stories. You know, my sister thought she could get pregnant because she sat down on the toilet to use the bathroom, right? And she thought that was truth. And my mom's like, no, sweetheart, that's just a story. But she heard it from a source that was not credible.
Of course.
So we wanted to make sure, hey, whatever the topic is, no matter how embarrassed you might be, you know, if it's a girl thing, see mama. If it's
Right.
a boy thing, come see dad.
Yep.
And we'll talk through it and figure it out, you know, and so we create that space that allows them to do that. So then we have healthy communication with each of them.
You do. And now you're not worried about them sneaking off and doing stuff behind your back, because they are, you allowed them to communicate with you on these things. That's going to set the foundation for them to be able to come to you with the difficult things.
Correct. And for example, we have our 17-year-old, he likes to go downtown with his friends.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes what I'll say is like, I remember when I was 17 and I went downtown.
Man.
And, you know, and I know you guys are going to go talk to girls and do this and that, but be careful for this, be careful for that, be careful for, I wish someone would have told me, you know, don't go down that dark alley, you know, it could be the wrong people at the end of that. But they didn't. So I allow that open dialogue, and I can parent them without always being on top of them. And then there's times when I might be a little too protective, especially with the girls, you know, and I'm like, I used to tell my girls, you know, like, I don't care where you move as long as I know. Like if you tell me you're going to the movies and you change your mind, you go to the mall, I don't care that you're going to the mall.
Just let me know.
Let me know. Because if I hear a report there's a fire at the movie theater, I'm going to panic.
Yep.
And here you are at the mall having ice cream and a good time.
And I would never knew.
And I would never have known. So just keep that open communication with me and we're good. You know, and then I always just tell the truth. You know, I said, worse than the thief is a liar. Don't lie to me to my face, because then it's hard for me to trust you.
Yep.
And I get the right to put a question mark behind everything you ever tell me. So take the consequence if it's bad because you did something wrong. And if you didn't do anything wrong, then you don't have nothing to worry about.
Right.
But don't lie.
Yeah.
And they're really, like I said, I'm really blessed to have really great kids.
Man, it seems like throughout this, you know, journey of being in their life for 5 years, it seems like they've grown and was able to heal from whatever trauma they had. And it seems like you guys are at a real beautiful place now.
Yeah, they still deal with, you know, divorced parents.
Of course.
Right? But, you know, being teenagers and even younger, they've spent so much time with me now that we act and we live like we've been together their entire life. Like when I talk about my 17-year-old, even though Israel's only been in my life since he was 12, I act like he's been in life since he was born. and they treat me like I've been in their life since they were born. It just flows very well.
Right.
And I think that's to commend their mother for being loving in a time when she was hurting, but still
Right.
demonstrating love.
Sure.
And making it easy for me to communicate with them. And so even though they deal with the things they still deal with, in our household, man, we have a blast. We openly communicate, and when we step on each other's toe, we are all quick to say, "I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Will you forgive me?"
Well, it trickles down.
Yes.
And you set that example at the beginning for each situation, it seems. So now it seems like they can handle it and they can identify when these things happen. And instead of it being a problem, it's let's find the resolution.
Yeah. And we're not perfect, right? We have our moments, but
course.
more times than not, we really are in a healthy place.
Yeah, and it's all about that conversation. Just have it. You never know what somebody's going through at a certain time when just a conversation might fix everything. On the way here, my son, Ryder, was having a meltdown moment because he just had this weekend of celebration and just this and that, and he got overstimulated. And so came to the end of the day, he needed to take a shower, and he just lost it. Like, I don't want to take a shower. And before I left, I said, I'm not leaving like this.
Right.
Let's have a conversation, Ryder. So I sat down, Ryder. I said, hey man, I'm telling him about the podcast. I already showed him the clips of the Ferrari Kid, so he already knows what I'm getting into.
Sure.
But now I just wanted to reiterate. I was like, let me get him out of this funk that he's in.
Right.
I said, I'm going to be late, but I don't care. Let me talk to my son real quick.
Right.
So I said, Ryder, hey, I know you had a long day. Let's wipe all these germs off of you. You're going to feel so much better in a hot shower. You're going to put on some clean pajamas, and you can do whatever you want. You have so many things from your birthday you can do. But you know what I'm about to do? I'm about to go do the interview with Manny, the guy, the Ferrari Kid. And I'll mention you on the podcast. He goes, don't forget. And right then, he forgot everything. He wasn't upset anymore.
Right.
He wasn't feeling down or just bothered. He was lifted up because we had that conversation.
Yeah, one-on-one. And the fact that 8 is great.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. He has these socks on the bottom of it says, I'm 8, bro.
Oh, that's funny. No longer 6, 7.
Oh, yeah.
But now 8.
I'm so glad we skipped that.
Oh my gosh. There's always, so it's funny because I guess there's this word called maxing now. And
what does that mean?
Like you're just over the top talking about it. You're trying to, you're too much, right? You're too much. So I saw this the other day. So we were all in the car the other day going to lunch with our son who turned 17. And I'm trying to figure out how am I going to interject this word. They've never heard me say it. And but I know they've been saying it. I haven't heard them say it, but I know they say it because it's the new thing. So one of them are saying something, and they said it again. I said, quit maxing. And they're like, how do you know this word? Where'd you hear that from? And I'm like, I'm young, man. I'm young and fresh, like they're like, whatever, you're so old. So, but it's so funny because their vocabulary is almost no different than ours was when we were growing up. One time I think you burned someone, like, you're playing basketball. Man, you burned someone, now it's juked or whatever. I mean, it's all means
It's
the same thing. It's the same thing.
It's just a different vocabulary word.
Yeah.
Describing the same thing.
Yeah, maxing is like you're extra. You know, like it was just a different word, but it means the same thing.
Well, like I guess about 6 years ago, it used to be try hard. Same thing. You're trying too hard.
Yeah, it's funny, but
it is funny,
and they think we don't get it, but we do get it.
My kids know. Just like yours do. We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
I was talking to my daughter the other day, and I said, her and her friend was using this term low key.
Yes.
And,
gosh.
And they were saying it back and forth. And the same thing when I had an opportunity to be with my daughter one-on-one. And I don't remember exactly how I use it, but I said, I don't even really like that low key. And she goes, oh, okay. She's like, okay, Dad.
I'm same thing. I was with Rachel, and they use that word a lot. And then the kids were around it, and I go, hey, babe. She goes, well, I'm like, I low key love you, man. And the kids were
I love
cracking
it.
up, like, what's he talking about? Like, well, you don't think I know what that means?
I love that.
So and then of course that's when they get to call me old, and that's when we get to laugh and have a good time. But it's a connection point.
Sure, it is.
Because I'm involved, like you're
100%.
involved.
Yes.
And that's one thing I think. Great dads are involved in their kids' stuff, even if they don't like it. Like I don't like video games, but I make time to know you're important to me. Let me figure this out. Educate me.
Exactly.
And my girls will say, "Yeah, mansplain it to me." Dad. Like if I don't know, I'm like, "Okay, girls, you're being extra."
All right, folks, let's take a quick break. If you're feeling tired or not quite yourself, Game Day Men's Health is here to help. With their veteran-owned specialized services in testosterone and peptides, you can boost your energy and vitality. Let's hear more about how they can make a real difference in your life.
My name's Andrew Cummings, and I've been doing Game Day since the end of January of this past year, so only a few months. Just overall, just didn't feel right, didn't feel myself, always tired. Came in to get my TRT checked and see what my levels were. That first day I got my shot, I went home, I felt great. I actually went outside, raked the yard for a couple hours, and then after I got done with that, I wanted to go work out. Worked out for like another hour and a half, and I was still looking for things to do. So I'm back to where I used to be a long time ago, and it feels pretty good. It's pretty phenomenal what this team, what Vern's team has done. Highly recommend Game Day because it's changed my life completely.
I love it. I love how you are with your children. It sounds the same way that I am with my kids. Like you're present, you're involved, and it brings so much joy to you. I could see it in your face when you're describing it.
Yeah, I love them. I love family, and at the end of the day, when the world beats you up, family is what keeps you whole and positive and straight, and look forward to the great things you want to accomplish and do, because it's bigger than me. It's about us as a team, as a unit, as a family.
And you didn't have these examples to look up to when you were younger, correct?
Yeah, just in my friends' relationships.
Right.
In my friends' relationships, I would see it here and there. And then in other relationships, including, I would see the brokenness. And in my mind, I couldn't figure out why are some people why do some people yell at the top of their lungs when they think they're right, and even if they're wrong, and some people can get their point across and they've never raised their voice at all. And I had to reconcile these things for myself. And then when I would catch I used to yell to get my point across, and then someone said, just because you're the loudest in the room doesn't make you right. And I'm like, wow, that was a check, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, man, they're right. And in fact, who wants to listen to someone yelling?
Sure.
So I'm like, let me autocorrect. And that's when I look in the mirror, right? So my whole life I look in the mirror and I make corrections, and I'm not perfect, right? Because I'm always having to make corrections.
Sure.
But I'm not what I used to be.
Absolutely.
And that's with the kids too. I want them to see the best version of myself, the best version of me loving their mother,
right?
The best version of me working hard to make our dreams come true, so then they can mimic that behavior with their girlfriends, their spouses, their children one day.
Yep.
And say, oh, I saw my dad work really hard. I saw my dad spend time. I know my dad loves poker, but he gave up that tournament to be with us and whatever. I want them to model that.
Yeah.
And especially men. I want our boys to be good men and treat their ladies like queens. Like we have a thing when they act, this is the queen of the house. We don't talk to her that way.
I love that.
Right. We respect the queen of the house. Right. And yes, sir. And they treat her like a queen, and I love, for example, Nehemiah, our 11-year-old. I'll say, hey, don't be hugging on mom like I hug on mom. Don't go over there and give her no love. I'm the king here.
Yeah.
And then he goes and does exactly. It's like that reverse psychology.
Of course.
And he loves on her and tells her I love you and holds her hand. And when I put my arm, he'll move my arm and get his hand. And I want him to do that. I want him to know that he needs to love his mama. and hopefully he'll be that way with the queen of his house.
Yep. The
You
same
know?
thing I do when I open up the door for my daughter and my wife.
Yes,
I want
me
my
too.
son to see that.
Yep, we have date nights. I take the girls on dates, and the boys take mom on dates. Like, in fact,
love
I
that.
think Spider-Man's coming up, so our 17-year-old comes to the room the other day and says, "Mom, I want to take you on a date to go see Spider-Man and take you to lunch before that."
Wow.
And I'm like, and he does open her door, and he does these things. And then the little one, I always take the girls on date nights, but the little one, she's like, "We going on a date with her?" Because she just likes to eat out. She likes ice cream.
Of
So
course, who
she's
doesn't?
always wanting, "Can we go on a date, father-daughter date?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, baby."
Do you want ice cream?
And so she goes, and then even our next door neighbor is here with me today, Ezekiel, and she'll tell him, "I love it when we go out because he always takes me to Burger Boy to get a shake." Right? So that's fine. If her memory of me is taking her out, getting a shake, and spending time with me, then let that be the memory.
Yeah, it's the
You
memory.
know?
You said it most importantly. It isn't about the shake. It's about that time that you spent
Right.
with her.
And when I think it's too much, like, okay, Liberty, we were just there 3 days ago. Let's give me a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then I'll lay the the law down, even
Right.
though I own Wrapped Around Her Finger.
Yeah.
.com. I do have to put the law down
You do,
sometimes
yeah.
too, and and let him know, okay. And then mom's the queen of the house, so let's
Yeah,
see
yeah.
what she wants to do
Sure.
first. So
It's a
lot
healthy
of fun.
balance.
Yes, but I do have little princess.
But it's important at the end of the day that you guys have set the foundation for, you both have come from essentially broken homes, right?
Yep.
And then now you're coming together, you're figuring each other out, you're growing, you're learning a lot about each other during these 5 years that you're together. And it seems like of course every road doesn't go without its bumps, without its road bumps, without its hurdles. And those don't matter because what matters is that you went through those to be where you're at today.
Yeah, and I think maturity, life experience brings you to that resolution. Like when Rachel and I got married, and we talked about it before we got married. Will we stay married forever? You have these fears because we both were in 20-year relationships. You're like, I can't imagine, right? Like in 5 years, we had a couple major hiccups, and we got through those things. So I tell her, other than infidelity or some stupid thing like that, I don't know anything that you can do other than that to hurt me.
Right.
And I don't know I could do anything other than that to hurt you. So I think if we stay within integrity in our relationships, what we do, whatever bump comes, we've demonstrated already that we can handle some of that hardest stuff.
Right.
So let's figure that out. And then we're very also intentional about dating each other. So the kids know, like Friday night's our date night. And unless it's a football game or a ballet or something
kind of event,
something where we can move our date night to another night, they know that we're going to go on a date and we're going to be lovebirds and we're going to act like lovebirds, and that's our time together. And yes, we love each of you, but at the end of the day, one day you guys will be gone and we will stay here.
Exactly.
And we have to be in love. And so we're very intentional about that. And the kids even look, oh, it's date night. You guys got a date this Friday.
Oh, wow. So they know.
They do know what's up, what's up. They do know what's
Look
up.
at you. Look at Hit Manny over here.
Yeah, what's up? They do know what's up. So we are very intentional about that. And so we communicate all the time. We have regular meetings, what we call family meetings, when we talk about her and our goals, our dreams, our ambitions, how we support each other, and then how that shows up with the kids, So yeah, it's all about intent. Where you pay attention is what flourishes and blooms. And so if you pay attention to the relationship with the queen of the house, that's going to flourish and bloom, and that's going to affect the children in a positive, healthy way.
For sure. Now, let me ask you something about where we're at, the Ferrari Kid. I just want to talk a little bit about that just because this is where we're at. When you had your children, was this in place already?
I just started it.
You just started this
And
before.
Yeah, and then about 4 years into it is when my divorce happened. So
Okay.
they were here for the first 4 years. I saw both my girls last week, or actually 2 weeks ago. They were very involved with the Ferrari Kid. They still come to events whenever it's possible. The good thing is our children do get along, which is really beautiful. But yeah, they were there from the beginning when I started the Ferrari Kid. Very much like you. I had come from a really horrific business loss, and my business partner embezzled $2 million, and I was in a really big funk. And I would talk about what I wanted to do and never did it. I would just talk about it, and eventually one day, I'm like, I got tired of talking about it, and you got tired of talking about it, and you did your first episode, and I did my first Ferrari Kid event. And they were part of that first, and then
They were part of it.
Yeah, they were there, and now 14 years later, we've served 4,000 plus families.
Wow,
So it's been incredible.
and where did you come up with the inspiration of wanting to help other children?
Well, it started for me really young. I was 7 when I was diagnosed with cancer and given 6 months to live. So I spent 3.5 years in the hospital. And when I was in
From
the
7
hospital,
to 10 and a half?
well, in different states,
Okay.
3 months here, 4 months there,
okay.
8 weeks there, not consecutively. And what would happen when I was young, I was doing 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 8 weeks. That's when I was going through all my chemo and radiation. And I started helping other kids. Like
In the hospital?
Yeah, because I was like the lifer, like I'm in the hospital every other month, every month, every other month. So, and I would be in there for 2-3 weeks at a time, a month and a half at a time. So I would help the nurse answer the phones. Pediatrics, can I help you? And,
Wow.
they went Dr. Smith or Dr. Collins, and a new kid would come in. I'm like, okay, so the 13-year-old room and up is over here. This is the regular pay room. On Saturdays, they have a magician or we watch a movie together. If
And
you
you're
need
giving
something-
them these introductions?
Yeah, I'm like the helper, right? And I felt valued because I was in there for so long. So I became like the patient, extra nurse, whatever. So I started helping kids when I was really young, and they would cry about getting IVs. I'm like, no, look, if it goes in like this, and if you just hold your breath real quick or pinch your nose, the needle won't hurt. And I would just do these things.
Wow.
And it just became part of who I am. And then later, I think what happens in life, people always say, what do you want to do? They always say, I want to help people.
Sure.
But they don't know what that means.
Right.
So in my coaching business, I really help people narrow that down. Like, what does that mean, help people? Because it's so narrow. Like, do you want to help homeless people?
Right.
Do you want to help people who are addicted? Do you want to help kids with cancer? Do you want to help moms? Do you want to help women that have been raped? What does it mean to you to help people?
And what people do you want to help?
Correct. So to me, was kids that were sick. Those are the people. That's who I resonated with. That was my experience. That was my story.
That was you.
Yes. Someone who has been raped probably wants to help other women who have gone through that crisis because they understand it. If you've been homeless, then you probably want to help homeless people,
Right.
because you know what it is to beg and live on the street. And it's not so easy to get a job when you have one set of clothes and everybody's judging you.
Sure.
Oh, go get a job. Well, yeah, that's easy to say. You have a bathroom and clothes you can change into. I don't.
Right.
Right? So when I say help people, I help people lock that in. And to me, it was always helping children. And then when I was 17, they were going to amputate my leg.
Whoa. What do you, like, your leg? Like, they're telling you?
So I was getting so many, you can't, well, you can maybe tell a little bit in this, but when I wear jeans, my right leg's twice as big as my left
Okay.
leg. And I was getting so many infections in my leg that they thought the infections were eventually going to kill me. They had got the cancer out of the system, but all the damage from radiation was leaving me really susceptible to infections because my right leg was lymphedema. It was just so big and getting infected. So Michael Jackson's doctor was fascinated by my case because literally I had 6 months to live at 7.
Okay.
And every weekend they're like, well, bring in your spiritual leader, your pastor, your priest, whoever you want.
Say your goodbyes.
Manny's not making it till Monday morning.
Wow.
And Monday morning I'd wake up because I had chemo on Friday. They didn't think I'd make it through the weekend. Monday morning I'm, vomiting all Saturday and Sunday. Monday morning it's out of my system. I'm all, hey, what's going on this week? And they're like, this is amazing. This kid's still alive. So I was in all these medical records and journals on this kid that keeps living. And finally, this infection was going to kill me because I was getting so many infections, 103, 104 degrees. They couldn't get these infections out of my system. So they wanted to amputate my leg. Michael Jackson's doctor said, well, let me take a look, see if I can do plastic surgery, something I can do to maybe save his leg.
And this is Michael Jackson, who did...
The singer.
I'm sorry. This is the doctor who did his what?
Oh, tons of his plastic surgery.
Oh, plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think part of it, he wanted to be in the medical journals because
Sure.
I was in the medical journals, Riley. There's a thing in there for him. And the other part, I think he wanted to help people, and plastic surgery was the way he helped people.
Sure.
Right? So I went to LAX. I got out of the airport, and when I got out of the airport and walked out, I see the most beautiful car I've ever seen in my life, and it's Magnum PI's Ferrari.
Oh, wow.
And I asked, and I still have that picture today. I asked if I can take a picture next to the car, and the guy goes, "My God, you have a smile on your face like you ate a banana sideways. I wish I had time to give you a ride."
Wow.
And I never forgot that experience and that feeling.
Dang.
And so as I was successful in the marketplace as a speaker and as an agent in real estate, after my business loss, I was kind of lost. And then I'm like, man, I've been chasing success and I've obtained it, but what is there after success,
Sure.
right? So there's significance and then there's legacy. So how do I chase significance? And I'm like, I was talking about putting kids in Ferraris and giving them an overtop day and the day they'll never forget and all this, but I never did anything with it. And then finally, I did. And I took 5 girls on a shopping spree at La Cantera, and the shopping spree was successful. The media got a hold of it and said, hey, this guy's giving Ferrari rides and shopping sprees to kids with cancer. My website got hit. I had 128 kids overnight on the waiting list for an experience, for a kid experience. And next thing you know, I'm like paying all this stuff out of my pocket.
Sure.
And then I'm like, I'm gonna go broke, so I got to figure out how to fundraise and do what these other charities are doing. I never expected to be in this philanthropy and charity space.
You just wanted to help.
I just wanted to help and make a difference.
And
but
put a smile on somebody else's
yeah,
kids like you had.
Yes, but it's hard to make a difference when you're broke. So I had to raise money.
Sure.
And so I did. I got really good at making $250,000 in the night, $500,000 in the night, and being able to spend all that on the following year for the kids and creating these epic over-the-top events for them. So 14 years later, my kids are involved, Rachel's kids, what we call our kids, all of them have been involved in the Ferrari Kid.
And so when you told, your now wife, Rachel, did she already know you were a part of this organization before she met you?
She didn't know. No, that's probably one of the good things is she didn't know.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, when I get introduced, they're like, "Oh, this is a Ferrari Kid. His Ferrari's a badass." And I'm like, "Don't lead with my car.
Sure.
Or don't lead.
That's
with
not who I
this.
am.
It's not who I am." In fact, I almost never use it. I keep it parked almost all the time. I take it on occasional date night, and if it's not a Ferrari Kid event, I didn't want to lead with that.
Sure.
So I didn't want to meet her under the terms, I'm this Ferrari Kid guy. So I got to meet her, and she got to know who I was. I got to know who he was. And then it didn't take too long to say, hey, I run a charity with kids coping with, she still doesn't know I have a Ferrari. She's just a kids coping with cancer, and this is the cool things we do. And then eventually, I'd go on a date and I'd pick her up and show off. But I didn't lead with that, and
Sure.
I wasn't introduced with that. And then the kids love it. They serve. I'm hoping Liberty one day takes over the company, but I hope they do what they all want to do.
Sure.
But they are involved. They all help out. They all have fun at these events. But they look forward to them every time we do something because they're all givers and helpers, and it makes them happy to make other kids happy, and it reminds them and reminds all of us how blessed we are to have good health and be in a loving home and have a roof over our head, a pantry bigger than most people's bedrooms,
Right.
And things like that.
No, it's important that you allow them to serve and give back. I mean, it's just going to allow them to appreciate things a lot more, and seeing it from your perspective of being someone who has come from what you've come from and still want to give back. I mean, you just lost how much?
$2 billion.
And you're still thinking, I want to help kids. Like
Yeah.
you weren't thinking, how am I going to get back on my feet? How am I going to make my next million? It's like, I want to take care of kids. I want to put smiles on their face. How can I do that?
Yeah, I think what happens, I think when you make it about you, it's easy to get depressed and go down this lonely road. When you make it about other people, when you lose yourself in the service to others, you get lost and happy and fulfilling. Feeding a homeless person or giving a kid with cancer a toy or walking down a hospital ward and loving on kids that are just going through some of their darkest moments. And I think the thing I love about our kids is it's not mandatory for them to come.
Right.
Like there's things like it's mandatory for you to go to church, or it's mandatory for you to, show up when on time when you make a promise.
Right.
But they want to be involved. They love being involved. And unless there's a conflict like work or something, they're always there to help out in any way. And then they built some friendships with some really cool, what we call Ferrari Kids, and in fact, my little one went to see the camel and zebra races the other day.
Somebody else told me they went to that.
Yeah, with one of the kids she met through the charity, and stuff like that. So, they end up meeting great people and have great friendships as a result of coming together, helping someone.
Right. And then that's going to allow them to be in this position where when they're parents, their children are going to look up, and that's how you said you created a legacy.
Yes.
And you want that to continue years after you're gone.
100%. And I want our last name to matter in the community. Like I want, my kids, someone said the other day, your kids got the job. Like my girls, when they've got jobs at Main Event, because of you, because I know the manager real well. And I'm like, they might have walked in the door because of my name, which is not a bad thing.
It sure is not.
But they kept their job because of their work ethic, not
Because of who they are.
Because of who they are. It has nothing to do with me. So yeah, I opened the door. I worked my butt off to open that door.
Sure.
But they kept their job because of their work ethic. So, they were trying to say they have a good life and a good job because of me, but no, they got a good life and good job because they work for what they get.
Right.
And deliver value to the marketplace in my absence.
Of course, because there's so many opposite sides of that where the door has been opened and the entitlement has already entered their mind to where I can do whatever I want because my dad is this or my mom is this. Your kids didn't have that.
No, in fact, we did a thing. I have a friend of mine that works with homeless people under the bridge. And when Nehemiah, me, and Israel got there, the first thing we did is we went and got trash bags. And we did trash duty. We got gloves on, and I said, "Okay, boys, we're going to clean up all the trash that you see on the floor, and all the plates when people are done with their meals, put in and stuff like that." And I wanted my kids to see that we're not too good to pick up trash.
Right.
We're not just having to hand out clothes and have the nice job here
Right.
today. We can have the least desired job here today and still make an impact. So, and I think that's our kids have that engraved. They don't show up entitled. They show up ready to serve at whatever capacity or whatever position needs to be done, whether they're the janitor that day or they get to be in the shopping spree helping the girl pick out an outfit.
Right. No, I think that's important. I mean, what you do is important, and how you set the foundation for them, getting them involved, keeping them, allowing them to be valuable.
Yeah. And the good thing is they each love it on their own, and they like different things. They have different interests, but I get to expose them to as much as I possibly can as their father, and then let them pick and choose what resonates with them. So, like working with kids with cancer is not easy.
I bet not.
And, we see a lot of sad stuff.
Sure.
So if one of my kids says, I love the Ferrari Kid, but man, it's hard for me to see these kids that hurt.
Right.
I want to go work at the food bank with Mr. Eric Cooper and just pack boxes. I would let them do that.
Sure.
They'll figure out what they like and don't like as they explore the world.
Right.
And my job is to just give them as many opportunities as I can. My hope is they stay with me as long as they can and they're involved. And I think they probably will be at this point, but If they ever comes a day where they need to pull up and do something different, I'm okay with that, as long as they're doing something.
No, I love that. Talking about being a dad and all the things that you do for your children, let me ask you this. How does that translate to the Ferrari Kid when you have that hat on and you're helping a family navigate through whatever it is they're going through? How do you step in that role and just kind of, offer guidance to a parent maybe not knowing how to handle a situation like that?
Yeah, well, this is kind of like defining helping people. I help people in my lane. I am a cancer survivor. I have buried 36 children with the Ferrari Kid. I've been through a tremendous amount of pain and suffering. So when I'm with a family, I understand what their kid is going through because I was that kid. I anticipate needs that they're going to have that they don't even know they're going to need yet. Like putting in support systems they don't think they need, but if something happened to their kid, they're going to be glad they're in place. So to me, to put one hat on at my household and run my house as the man of the house, the father of the house, and then put another hat on, stepping into the role of my purpose and passion, they kind of interweave very closely. They're related, so I'm not two different people.
Sure.
I'm kind of the same man at home as I am at work. Maybe the only difference is at work I do have to make some tough decisions and help people in crisis where that's typically not going on in my home.
Right.
But other than that, I show the same love and compassion to the Ferrari kids as our own children. I walk with integrity at home. I walk with integrity in the marketplace. So I'm not trying to be someone I'm not.
I love that. And it's easy to translate because it's done so effortlessly.
Yeah, it's who I am.
It is.
It's in every fiber of my being. My core values are love and compassion. So everything I do at home is with love and compassion. And everything I do at the Ferrari Kid is with love and compassion. If at my home, it's love and compassion, and I yell or raise my voice or pound my chest, quick autocorrect. It's not who I am. That's just, I had a moment, I had a human moment. I'm like, something must have triggered that. It's definitely not their fault.
Sure.
Let me say, I'm sorry. Can I have a reset? Can I have a mulligan? Can I have a do-over?
Yeah.
And they easily say yes because they also need mulligans and do-overs and
Yes.
to reset because they're in their learning years.
Of course.
And they're going to make mistakes. And guess what? Mistakes are allowed in our household.
Yes.
We don't punish people for mistakes or effort or failing forward.
Yeah, and it's hard for little kids to realize it because they, especially my son, because he wears his heart on his sleeve too. He's so emotionally uneducated, as I like to say, because he just doesn't know how to process things
Right.
effectively. And but he's grown in this last 2 years as I've also grown.
Right.
Someone who's been through anger management, someone who's gone through therapy to find my own way of learning how to heal and get through things. Now I'm having a different conversation with him. And he's able to understand them. And so the meltdowns still happen. But just like today, it was just a little bit of redirection, and he's right back to where he needs to be.
Yeah, and that happens to all of us. That's why we're easily able to extend grace because grace isn't given to us. So I have to forgive and let go because I was also little and pushed the line and my parents had to forgive and let go, the best they could. So yeah, it comes full circle. It's funny.
Yeah, it is. And just it's how we handle it and how they see it, and it's going to translate back to you the way that you didn't even expect it to, but because you planted these seeds throughout the year, you see it come to fruition. You're like, well, I did a good job.
Yeah, I was with Liberty the other day, and she was with her group of friends, and she made a comment about, well, you just got to stay positive about it. And I'm like, man, that's what I told her like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You have to stay positive about things. And you don't think they're listening, but
Right.
then she makes a statement, or the boys will make a statement of exactly what you said in their words, or exactly like you said it in your words. And you're like, my God, they were paying attention.
They were.
And so all this stuff that you tell yourself, like, what does it matter? Am I really actually making a difference? Are they actually listening?
Right.
They are.
They are.
To all of it.
All of it.
To all of it.
An example of that too. Just today, my wife told me that earlier they were in the car. They went to Whataburger. My daughter had went inside, got her food because she placed the order online.
Right.
Went inside, got it, and got the food inside the car. She was starving, but she didn't want to eat because her hands were dirty, and she didn't have hand sanitizer. She was looking for it. I don't know. I'm starving. I want to eat. My son, 8 years old, oh, I got it. Pulled out his little thing and hand sanitizer. He got that from my wife.
Right.
She's always preparing us.
got it.
Make sure
I
you
got
have
it.
this. Make sure you have hand sanitizer. Make sure you
Right.
have this. Make sure you have it. And he's like, I got it.
Yeah.
And so I told her, I said, well, if you ever were worried about if he was listening to you,
Yeah.
look at that. And she was like, I know.
Yeah, same thing. My little one, so one of the things I tell people all the time is I appreciate you. When someone
do
does
too.
something, I'm like, thank you, I appreciate you. And the other day we were out getting fast food and we got our stuff and the lady was super nice and he just like, thank you, I appreciate you. And I'm like, God, it makes you happy. It makes
It does.
you so proud. Like,
It
that's
does.
my boy right there.
It really does.
He's gonna be a good kid. He's
Yep.
gonna be a good man.
And you see it. How old is he?
11.
You see it even as an earlier age. My daughter was at Cece's Pizza one day with my grandmother. My mom had came into town. She took her granddaughter, my daughter, to Cece's Pizza, and she was probably like 8 years old.
Right.
And she walked up to this lady and told her, "Oh, your hair's so beautiful." Because I'm always about giving compliments.
Right.
Like I always tell
Right.
them, like if you see someone that you like or something that you appreciate it,
Yeah.
give that a compliment. It's okay
Yes.
to let
Yes.
people know how you
Yeah.
feel about certain things. And she told this lady, "Oh, your hair's so pretty." And later on during the restaurant visit, the lady came up to my mom and told her, "Is this your daughter?" And she goes, "No, it's my granddaughter." She goes, "I just want to tell you, this little girl made my day." She goes, right now I am 8 months pregnant. I feel like crap. I had to get away out of my house because I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I needed to go have some pizza
Right.
because I'm stress eating. I think I look like horrible. And this little girl told me that my hair looked beautiful and it made my day feel so much better.
Yeah, it's a happy moment as a parent to see our little people mimic us
Yes.
in such a positive way.
Yep.
I tell the kids all the time, everyone wears an invisible T-shirt and it says "Make me feel special,"
I love that.
and so you can never go wrong giving someone a compliment. Sometimes you want to say that's a pretty shirt or nice shoes, and you hesitate. I'm like, never hesitate. Say it.
Sure.
'Cause they need it.
Right.
Just like we need it. It makes us feel good. They feel even greater.
I had to pull the reins on her a little bit though, because now as she gets older, she'll see a girl maybe like 100 feet away. "I love your shirt." Like, well, wait till she's in front of you.
Yeah, let her get within 10 feet. Let her get it within 10 feet. That's
And
hilarious.
you see her, she'll get so anxious about it too. She'll see somebody, she likes her shirt, and I'm like, she knows. Wait till you get close, and as soon as I get close, "Hey, I like your shirt."
I love it. I love it.
And let me ask you this, Manny. How would you? What type of advice would you give a dad that has just gotten the news that their child is going to have cancer or some type of ailment? Them not knowing how to prepare their world. What advice would you give to that dad, to that family, to that couple going through that?
Yeah. So there's a couple things I believe in. One is God heals. I dreams come true, and believe in miracles. One of the things I would tell a parent is trust the doctors. They're the experts. They see this every day of their life, right? But at the same time, don't be afraid to get second opinions and ask lots of questions. Probably the one thing I resented my parents for a long time, not no more, is because they did the best they could. I've had 63 operations.
Wow.
3 hip replacements. I don't feel that they asked enough questions, and I think had they asked more questions, I could have avoided lots of my surgeries. And instead of the doctor immediately, see, here's what happens. You go see a surgeon. What's the solution?
Okay.
Surgery.
That's what they're
You see a pain medicine doctor. What's their solution to solve your pain? Medicine. Yes. You see a plumber. What's his solution? You plumbing some issue, right? So they went to see the surgeon all the time, and the surgeon would say, we should do this, we should do that. And instead of asking questions like, how would this affect him long term? Like, they cut my leg open so many times. Of course, I get infections all the time. My leg's soft. Had they not cut it as many times, it would probably have thick skin like most of us.
Right.
Right? So ask lots of questions. A good doctor welcomes a second opinion. If a doctor says, no, I'm absolutely, you don't need to talk to anybody else, run. A good doctor would say, that's a great question. That's great that you want to get a second opinion. In fact, here's 3 other surgeons or 3 other oncologists or 3 other experts that are my colleagues that you should talk to. Maybe they can see something I didn't, but I welcome you to get a second opinion. So, but above questioning, asking lots of questions, despite getting second opinions, is never lose faith, never lose hope. I think if you give up here in your mind and you're defeated, your child will see that. So you have to stay strong for your children. There's many times I put on a game face because my children are present when I'm scared and I'm fearful and I struggle because I don't want to put that emotion onto them. So, but the other thing is that I do believe in miracles, that I do believe God heals. I do believe that he has a plan for it all. So I always say, just keep the faith. No matter how dark something look. I mean, I was given 6 months at 7 years old, and
Not only that, you were told that you weren't even going to make it through the weekend at one point.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. So it's not just once.
Multiple times. My parents were told over a 2-year period of time, 7 to 9, multiple times,
That you were not going to make it.
I won't make it past the weekend.
Wow.
I won't make it past the weekend. I kept losing weight. I kept getting super thin. I was getting so many infections. I can tell you of a time when I lived in Italy for 2 years. We were stationed in Italy. I had a cancer next to my heart, and it's pushing into my heart, and then it spread to my brain, and all. It's just a series of events that happened. Only to, so they sent me. Long story short, they sent me to Germany because they couldn't do the operation in Italy to take out the cancer. The German doctors, the base in Germany, said this is too risky for us. We don't have the right equipment like Italy. He needs to go to Walter Reed's Hospital where the presidents get their surgeries.
Right.
It was 1981. I was 12 going on 13. I remember because they had a teen ward I wasn't allowed in. And it was during President Reagan's inauguration. I was near the president. And and then I guilt tripped them. I'm saying, hey, I may not make past this surgery. Can I play a game of pool in the teen room? And they let me.
Wow.
The doctors told my mom and dad it's going to be a super long operation. Prepare for the worst. It's not looking good for Manny.
Wow.
And they cut my chest open, went in digging, cut my neck open, went in this way, closed me up 30 minutes later, went up to my parents and said, we medically cannot explain this. We can't see any cancer, and everything that shows up on the x-rays and the machines, it's not present inside his body. I've experienced this. I've experienced a miracle in my life at 12 years old. So for me to give parents any advice other than keep the faith, don't lose hope, yeah, I could never argue against that. I would always say keep the faith no matter what, don't lose hope. And yes, we buried 36 children at the Ferrari Kid, and it's it's a shame that the coffins come so small.
It is.
I believe there's a purpose for it all. And though in our brains, in our head, it's just too small to understand. God has 8 billion people on the planet and a plan for all their life. And if I have 100 friends, I have a 100-piece puzzle set. I can only see my 100-piece puzzle, but he has 8 billion pieces weaved together, and he knows what we don't know. So I just keep the faith is my biggest message to them.
Oh, I love that. I mean, just hearing you just talk about everything you went through, and I've heard some of these things when you talked about them last time when you were giving the speech to the agents, and just telling us a little bit about your background. Just want to dive into a little bit here. Man, 63 operations, and you literally are a walking testimony to keeping the faith.
Yeah, I've had 3 hip replacements, and I just went to Spain, France, and Italy for our honeymoon, and it's all walking.
Wow.
And Rachel's like, "You got to buy a cane." I'm like, "I'm not buying a cane, babe. I'm not. There's no way I'm going to buy a cane, and I'll just figure it out." She goes, really need to, hun." So I did. I
You
ended
did.
up listening to my wife, bought a cane. Thank God, I bought a cane. There was so much walking, so much uneven
Right.
roads, so much of an incline. The incline with my hips just really are horrible for me, and but I've got 2 legs that I
Yeah.
walked on even with a cane.
Yeah.
And from a 17-year-old who's going to have his leg amputated to a 57-year-old walking with a cane in 3 different countries in 10 days was a miracle
Yeah.
through the grace of God.
There's no other way to explain it.
Yeah. So that's why my superpower is gratitude. I'm so grateful.
I love it.
I was telling Rachel the other day, like our house, we have overlooks Camp Bullis, and where the sun sets in our backyard window. So sometimes we're literally sitting side by side, 6, 7 o'clock at night, and the sun's setting literally at our right in our bedroom.
I love that.
And I'm like, how can we not wake up grateful
Yeah.
that we have lungs and breath in our body and go to sleep with a sunset not being in gratitude? So it's like I'm grateful for everything, and I'm limited. Understand that I can't golf, I can't run, I can't play basketball, and
Sure.
I love basketball like I used to, right? I could do those things. I shouldn't say can. I can do those things, but not at the capacity I used to. But I don't focus on the 1,000 things I can't do. I focus on the 9,000 things I can
Right.
do. And that's what brings me joy, is saying I can do these things and not worry about the rest.
And going through your years of having this organization and just helping as many families that you do, how does someone be a part of the organization if they want to give back and they want to help and they hear this story and they want to serve and they want to volunteer? Is there an opportunity for people to do that?
Yeah. We have lots of opportunities. We do events almost every month
Okay.
for volunteers,
Sure.
right? So we always say time, treasure, talent, connections. There's always room at the table. If you have time, some people aren't blessed with treasure where they can write a check.
Right.
When you walked in the room, I just opened an envelope with a $10,000 check. Some people have a gift. They make lots of treasure. They can give. That's their way of doing things, right? Some people can't, so they put in time. Time is just as important. We have a gala coming up November 7th. It takes 50 volunteers to put that gala together.
Wow.
To host 600 people. Treasure, talent. If someone's a magician, a musician, and they want to have a day with the kids where they could sing songs or do magic or whatever, come and let me know. And then if they have a connection, you never know. You're one person away from something epic happening in your life or in your charity. Introduce us to someone you know that might be willing to help. So kind of like the Karate Kid, the FerrariKid.org
Okay.
is the website.
I love it.
TheFerrariKid.org. You can just put Ferrari Kids San Antonio. It'll pop up, and our email, our phone number, our address, everything's on the website. Our
Right.
Instagram's the Ferrari Kid, our Facebook's the Ferrari Kid, and just reach out and say, "Hey, Manny, I have time, I have treasure, I have a talent, or I have a connection, and I want to help in one of these ways."
I love it.
And like I said, there's always room at the table. I never say no to someone wanting to help one of our families.
I think that's beautiful. And on the flip side, let's say a family is going through an event where they have a child that wants to get the special attention of the Ferrari Kid. How would that family reach out to you?
Yeah, so the same way, they go to the website, theferrarikid.org.
Okay.
There's a button that says nominate. They nominate their child, and I'll get an email that this child, like I got 2 this morning, 2 nominations for children coping with cancer. And I just basically reach out to the family. I tell them to join a special Facebook group for the parents, and I list all the events we have. Like we just took 250 kids to the movies last week to see Minions.
Oh, yeah.
We have a Canyon Lake Sunset Cruise dinner. We have a yacht that would go out at Canyon Lake, 2-story, where we have dinner, jet skis, boat rides, and we go on the sunset and have a cruise. We have Top Golf back to school dance party. We have Formula One, UTSA, Spurs, Christmas party. We have all these events coming up.
Sure.
So they just nominate their child. It's 100% free for the child and the entire family. And it's not just kids coping with cancer. They could be deaf. We had 55 kids that could not hear at the movies. We had a special theater with closed
captioning
for them.
I love that.
And so it could be a kid with special needs. It could be a kid that's autistic. It could be a kid that has a missing limb. It doesn't really matter the illness or the sickness and whether they're doing okay now or they're in really dark place on hospice. We will put them in the program and make them feel like a celebrity, put them in a Ferrari and give them a day they will never forget.
I freaking love that. I love everything you do. You go to the website and you see the children's smiles. You see it on the Facebook group. You see it every time you host one of these events and you're sharing the photos. You see exactly what you envisioned when you were a child about making kids smile like they just freaking opened a banana and put it in there.
Yeah, I love it. And there's literally no such thing as bad days. When you do the things that I do and you get to see the suffering that I get to see, you get to really enjoy your life and say, man, I really am in a blessed place. And I'm so grateful to create so many happy moments for these families, because some of these families, they're dealing between, they can't put their lights on. They've got medical bills. They got prescriptions that are $2,000 a month. They can't take their kid to Top Golf.
Right.
Or take a shopping spree or go to Pop Stroke or do all the cool things that we do. So they get to do these things through us. And the kids can come to all the events all year long for as long as they want to. They don't really age out, and it gives them fun times in the midst of their storms. But I will say, I do get a lot of credit for doing this for 14 years, but it absolutely takes a village.
Sure.
I have an amazing board of directors. I have an amazing group of super volunteers that anytime I post, I need this, I get 40, 50 people. How can I help? Can I help? How can I help? And so it really takes all of us to put these things together. I'm glad and honored to be the captain of the ship, but it takes a team to put this together.
No, and you have a great team, or else you wouldn't be able to do what you did consistently year after year after year and keep on getting bigger. And I love what you do in a sense to where, like, and I don't get me wrong, I love the Make-A-Wish because I've had a cousin who had benefited from going on a Disney World trip when they were 6 years old or somewhere around there, had leukemia, didn't know if they were going to make it. He's an 18-year-old today,
right.
And strong. But after that trip, there was really nothing for the family. There was really nothing for the child. There wasn't any additional resources that I feel that would have, helped bridge the gap through some of these times. And I like how you have that continuously through your organization, through just offering resources for parents. I think that alone is just something that they need, especially going through that.
Yeah, we have a thing called the Hope Tank. So after their cool, epic, fun day in the Ferrari, they still need love and support and encouragement for their entire journey. So at the Hope Tank, we do monthly outings where we do go to the movies together, or we do go to Top Golf together, or do we do a pizza night or a game night here at the office, and we do things together. And I used to limit it to just to children because we have so many helicopter parents. I know my parents were helicopter parents, especially when the kids got cancer. And I mean, they're so scared they're going to get hurt. And I kicked the parents out like, nope, you leave the kids here with us for a couple hours, come back in 2 hours. The kids are going to be kids. They're not going to be cancer kids, sick kids. They're just going to be kids.
Sure.
And then I'd see the kids are exchanging phone numbers. And, I can tell a 16-year-old girl what it is to be bald. And I remember when I was bald for several years, but I'm 57. But when another 15, 16-year-old girl tells a 16-year-old girl, I'm bald, I know you're going to be bald, this is what you can deal with, this is things that you can do, this is makeup you can apply, it's a different connection. And then I would see the parents leaving, but then they would be crying and exchanging phone numbers. And I realized, wow, the parents need each other as much as the kids.
Sure.
So now the rule is parents are allowed as long as they don't helicopter their kids and let them have fun. And so we created the Hope Tank. Make-A-Wish is like a great organization, and sometimes they've even called me. Like I'm friends with some of the Spurs players, Tony Parker,
Okay.
David Robinson,
Sure.
Danny Green, and I are good friends, right? So a kid wants to meet Tony Parker, and Make a Wish calls me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, don't burn a wish on one phone call I can make and set that up.
Yeah.
Send that kid to Disney or
Oh,
Paris
I
or
love
something.
that. So you've done that.
And so I'll reach out to Tony and say, hey, or David. One kid really wanted a David Robinson basketball, just like he had a collection of all the basketballs. The only one he's missing is David. Make a Wish is going to set him up with David. I'm like, no. Send that kid somewhere else. I'll call David. Let me text him right now.
I got
David,
something on
can
the
I
side.
get a signed basketball for this little 7-year-old with cancer? His name's Mike.
Yeah.
And whatever, and he says, yes, come to my house, pick it up. I go to David's house, pick up the ball, give it to Mike. And, and I also been a season ticket holder for 15 years with the Spurs right next to the bench. So sometimes when the players are there, I'll say, I'll text David because I got a couple of seats behind that. And I'll say, hey, David, I got 2 furry kids with basketballs coming towards you. Is it okay if I send them towards you
Right.
for you to sign? He goes, yes. And I always have them in there for a kid gear.
Sure.
So they go to David, and
He already knows.
He knows. He signs them and makes their day. It's one text.
Yeah.
Send that kid to wherever, Paris.
Exactly.
So-
and then that kid is that smile and that memory forever.
Yeah, and the players take the time. Danny Green's a great friend, and Antonio Daniels. They both have done basketball camps for me where 150 kids, they're like, you want to do skills? I'm like, no, these kids can barely move a basketball. I'm like, they just want to be in your presence.
Right.
So I'd buy, 100 basketballs, 100 copies of my book. I'd sign my books.
Sure.
They'd sign the basketball. They'd shoot a couple baskets with the Spurs.
Yeah.
And they're like, I play basketball with a Spurs
Right.
player. And they love it,
They don't need to learn anything. They just want to be
they don't.
around.
They don't. They just in the presence of celebrity because they feel like a superstar
Sure.
themselves. And
Which
that's
they
what we
should.
do. And that's what we do. We
Yeah.
create celebrities.
And it's so awesome to hear your story, to hear your journey. But you had this in your head as a sick kid, as somebody who was told that you're not going to be around anymore. You're still there helping out and being this light to children who are going through the same thing that you're going through. And how do you hold it together?
Yeah, I mean, I have a great support system, right? Like I hold it together most of the time,
Right.
right? I had a heart-to-heart with Rachel this morning.
Okay.
Babe, I'm struggling with a couple of things. Let me share what those are with you,
Sure.
and pray for me on this. And I don't know why, because I know the solution here, and she got to bring in a different vantage point. I know a lot of people,
Right.
People say, Manny, you have hundreds of friends. And I'm like, if friends were pennies, I'd rather have 4 quarters.
Right.
So I have this thing called #4quarters.
I love
I'd
that.
rather have, and so I have quarters in my life of 3 or 4 people that when life is hard or something doesn't go my way or someone makes a big promise, like at my gala, people will show off. Like I got $50,000 for you. Just call me that, and
Yeah.
and they want to show off in front of
In
the
front of
group.
people.
And then I make the phone call, like, well, I didn't mean 50,000 next week or this week. I'm talking about in the future. I'm like, okay, so but you can't call them out. You can't.
Of course.
It's things you deal with. But I'm thinking, man, I just wiped out a bunch of kids off my waiting list, and my mind's like,
Right.
And now I'm really crushed and disappointed, and I don't understand why people would do that. And I have my moments of bad thoughts and. So I'll reach out to one of my quarters and say, man, this person made a commitment and they were just showing off. I'm not sure how to handle this or deal with this,
Right.
emotion right now of how wrong that was. And so they helped me navigate that. Right. So I do have it together most of the time. I'm the person most people think have it together. So they always come to me. Right.
Sure.
But there's times when I don't, and I need to have the 4 quarters in my life that I call it truth and love. Like if you're in my life, I give you permission to speak into my life, like I can speak into your life. So, I have people in my life that will say, you've got spinach in between your teeth, dummy.
Yeah.
Go in the bathroom, get that out so you're not walking all day with it. And they're not embarrassed
Exactly.
to tell me that.
No, you
right?
need people like that in your life.
Yeah. Or, because you get a lot of yes people. I have a lot of yes people. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sure.
And but then I have people like, can I be honest? Like, yes, Manny, that's dumb. I mean, let me tell you why. And then they
Right.
state their case,
Yeah.
you know, and it may not be dumb. They just see it from a different
Sure.
viewpoint. And it could be a viewpoint that I didn't think about. Like Rachel, sometimes I make a decision and she goes, I know you think that's a good decision, but did you think about this? And then boom, boom, boom. And for example, in parenting, I may make a decision with one of our daughters, you know, and I'm like, I don't understand why she's like that. And then she goes, well, maybe I can shed some light into that. Did you ever think about this, this, and this? And I'm like, wow, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm not a girl. I would never have thought of that.
Yeah. It's
So
good that
thank
you have
for
someone.
bringing me that's perspective,
Exactly.
and not scared to tell me,
Right.
you know, and can be honest with me. And honest doesn't mean you attack someone or you call them, you're so stupid to think of that, or you call them names or whatever. Honest just means I love you enough to tell you the truth, whether you receive it or not receive it. It's like a gift. You could accept it or not accept it. But I love you enough and care enough that I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just trying to share truth from the way I see it. And there was a movie called Vantage Point.
I've not seen that. What?
Yeah, it was super boring.
Okay.
It's the same scene over and over.
Okay.
It's a gunshot.
Oh, no, I have not
right?
seen it.
And depending on where you are you sitting here, behind you, to the side of you, what is the vantage point that you see it?
Okay.
Right? So I'm telling the story from looking you head on.
Right.
Like I saw the guy pull the trigger right in front of me.
Right.
Right? The other guy goes, no, he didn't pull the trigger in front of him. He pulled the trigger, but he's seeing it from the back of your head. And it looks like he was aiming at another person, even though the gun was like this,
it's just
his arms. So what vantage point are you coming from?
Right.
And so I see the world through my set of glasses. And then someone else sees it through their set of glasses based on their experiences, what they've gone through in their life, how they see it as a woman, how they see it as a man, how they see it as within their belief system. And I appreciate that because it sheds light into I might have made a mistake.
Right.
Maybe I am right, and that just confirmed it. But I'm always open to people who speak truthfully in my life to listen to their vantage point. And I'm not closed-minded that way. So, and which really helps out in talking about being a dad.
Right.
Great parenting. When Rachel's able to come to me and say, honey, I know you're the man of the house and I will support the decision that you make, but did you think of this?
Right.
And I could honestly look at her and say, I did, but despite that, I still think this is what needs to be done.
Right.
Or I can say, honestly, I never would have thought of that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. And that's what we do is blending two families that could be difficult, blending two different styles of parenting, and how do we parent as one. And it comes from that place of truth and love.
Right.
And that we can get away with saying things that need to be said and not fear rejection or you're not my friend anymore because you don't think like me or agree with me.
Right. No, and you've gone through what you've went through to be able to, identify these situations and target them and make light of the situation that you're in.
Right. Yeah. And so that's how we navigate things. That's how I navigate things is I keep an open mind. I allow people who speak into my life that I know have my best interest at heart and can be honest with me, not just agree with everything that comes out of my mouth because I'm human.
Right.
And I definitely make mistakes.
Well, Manny, you've touched on a lot of things, and I usually ask as we're wrapping these up if there's any advice you'd want to give to dads out there in the world. But I think you've done a good job of just navigating those questions early on during the conversation. Do you want to leave the world with one last statement as we wrap this up?
Yes, I would say this. We mentioned it a couple of times. Is the word love. I think as men, we're told to be a certain macho man, a certain way, and I'm a strong man, but I can be loving. And I think love is typically the answer to most of the problems. If you show love and compassion to people, your spouse, your children, come from a place of understanding. See, in a world when things aren't perfect,
Exactly.
love is the answer.
Right.
It's I used to own shoe stores in the mall.
Okay.
And one day during the holidays, a mother was grabbing her child and like, come here, come here, come here. I can't believe you're not staying close to me, right? And I asked the mom. I said, and this is because this happened literally the week before the incident with this mother. I said, I said, can I show you something? And she goes, yes. I said, can you just get to her level for a second? So I got on my knees. The mother got on her knees. And I said, I want you to look around. That's what she sees. She sees everybody's butt and knees. She can't see what you see, that there's Sears, there's the sunglass, that there's the stairwell. Her vantage point is 5 years old.
Wow.
And she's assuming she can see where the the escalator is that need to be, and she couldn't, right? So one of the things that I realized is that the advice I would give is look at things through someone else's glasses with love and compassion. It doesn't mean you will agree with them. It just lets you see the world through a different set of glasses. And sometimes that's what we need to change perspective or reaffirm our decision was right. But always take the extra step, go the extra mile for your children, for your spouse, to see things through their perspective. Because at the end, what we want is to be good dads. We want to be great husbands. We want to be good leaders. So for us to set the example, we have to be the example. And for us to want our kids to be patient, then we need to demonstrate patience. And the best way I know that is to be loving and compassionate in all things that you do, touch, and go for.
And always set the example.
Yes.
I love it.
Because I can't expect my kid to do something I'm not willing to do.
100%.
I can't expect them to be humble if I'm not willing to be humble. I can't expect them to be patient if all they see is dad lose their shit every time he's in traffic.
Right.
Right? So, which is my number one. But that was why that was so easy. My little one time was on the way to school, and I know this is wrapping it up. Her mother took her to school that morning, and she goes, "Mom, where's all the jerks today?" And she goes, "And what do you mean?" And then my ex goes, "Oh, they're only out when your dad drives."
I love it. I love it.
So we have to, forgive as we want to be forgiven and set the example by looking at it through a different set of glasses. Sometimes.
I absolutely love that. Manny, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your dad's side. And as always, welcome to the dad side. Thank you.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate you, Tom.
Love it. Love it.
You already know what time it is.